Did you know the real Shrek might be Maurice Tillet? Maurice was a French wrestler with acromegaly, a condition that made his face look unique. Called the French Angel, Maurice was more than his looks. He was kind, smart, and spoke 14 languages. His story inspired a character we all love, Maurice Tillet, the real-life Shrek. Subscribe for more amazing
Would you
hide in an attic for 7 years just to see your kids grow up free? Harriet Jacobs escaped slavery by hiding in a space so small she couldn't stand or kneel. She watched her children through a hole in the ceiling without them ever knowing she was there. Summers were boiling, winters were brutal. She starved, her legs went numb, mice chewed her bedding. But that one tiny peephole, it kept her alive. After her enslaver died, she escaped. She wrote a book, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. It exposed slavery's horrors and changed American history. Harriet Jacobs didn't run, she waited in silence so her children could live free. Never forget her name. In the late 18th century, one man captured the world's attention, not for his achievements, but for his size. Daniel Lambert, born in 1770 in Leicester, England, became one of the heaviest men ever recorded, tipping the scales at over 700 pounds. Despite his weight, Lambert worked as a respected jailer, and his fame grew, attracting crowds eager to witness his remarkable size. He was put on display in public exhibitions, becoming a celebrity of his time, but behind the spectacle, his health began to decline. Daniel Lambert passed away at just 39, his life forever marked by his extraordinary condition. This is the true story of Mary Ann Bevan. She was once a nurse, a wife, and later, the woman the world mocked as the ugliest woman alive. But her story, it's one of sacrifice and strength. Born Mary Ann Webster in East London in 1874, she trained as a nurse in the 1890s. In 1902, she married Thomas Bevan, and together they had 4 children. But tragedy struck. Thomas died in 1914, leaving Mary Ann a widow. Soon after, she developed acromegaly, a rare disorder that changed her appearance dramatically. Her face, hands, and body grew distorted. We're not finished yet. Mocked by society and desperate to support her children, Mary Ann made a bold move. She entered, and won, the Ugliest Woman in the World contest. Then she joined sideshows like Coney Island and Ringling Brothers. But it wasn't for fame, it was to feed her kids. She earned over $50,000, nearly $1 million today, and gave her children a life she never had. Mary Ann died in 1933. The world laughed, but history remembers her strength.
In 1961, Michael C. Rockefeller, heir to the Rockefeller fortune, vanished without a trace in the jungles of New Guinea. Michael Rockefeller, the youngest son of New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller, capsized off the coast of New Guinea in 1961. He was with 3 others. 2 swam for help. Mike and the last man clung to the canoe point. 3 days passed. No rescue. The canoe drifted 12 nautical miles from shore. And then Michael made a fateful decision. He swam for it. His companion begged him not to, but Michael insisted. After swimming for hours in treacherous, crocodile-infested waters, Michael was never seen again. The rescue came for the last man, but Michael's body was never found. Theories emerged that he made it to shore, only to be eaten by the Asmat tribe or live among them. But these stories? They're built on unverified testimonies from locals, collected by private investigators hired by Rockefeller's mother. Most of these claims were spun by people hoping for a reward. The idea that Michael survived a 12-mile swim, clinging to a canoe for 3 days through crocodile-infested waters. It's highly unlikely. Then a photo surfaced years later showing a white man at an Asmat festival. But the photographer who took the picture didn't recall seeing a white man. His notes, however, suggested it was an Asmat man with albinism taking part in the festivities. The recent photo of a white man has people wondering if it's Michael. But the reality is far more complex. Did he really survive the swim and live among the Asmat? Or did he meet a tragic end in those unforgiving waters? The mystery of Michael Rockefeller's death still haunts us. Theories abound, but the truth remains elusive. Ever heard of the time a pope put a dead pope on trial? Yeah. Welcome to the bizarre world of the Cadaver Synod of 897. Pope Stephen VI had a massive grudge against his predecessor, Pope Formosus. So what did he do? He exhumed Formosis's decaying body, dressed it in papal robes, and put it on trial in a courtroom. A terrified deacon was forced to defend the lifeless pope while Stephen screamed accusations at the corpse. The verdict? Guilty. They cut off the corpse's blessing fingers, then tossed it into the Tiber River. Rome was horrified. The outrage was so intense. Stephen was overthrown and strangled in prison. After that, the church banned trial for the dead. And that's why the Cadaver Synod is remembered as one of the strangest, most absurd chapters in history. Want to dive deeper into bizarre history? Like, comment, and subscribe. In the heart of ancient Hazenlu, two bodies were found, frozen in a deadly embrace. A young man and an older adult, or so it seemed. Discovered in 1973, their love story is trapped in time, preserved by fire and mystery. But here's the twist. After decades of speculation, DNA tests revealed they were both male. Who were they really? Lovers? Friends? Or something else entirely? The Hazanlo lovers remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Some stories can never be fully told.
Imagine walking down the street and seeing a mummy for sale, not in a museum, on the sidewalk. In the late 1800s, Egypt's streets were full of relic dealers. Tourists could buy a centuries-old body for the price of a nice dinner. No questions asked. Europe was obsessed. Some unwrapped them at parties, others crushed them into powder for miracle medicine or paint. It was called mummy mania, and it was as creepy as it sounds. Collectors shipped thousands overseas. Many were fakes, stitched together from bones and rags just to fool tourists. By the early 1900s, Egypt banned the trade, but the damage to history was already done. It's a chilling reminder. Once, the dead weren't treasures of the past, they were merchandise. Subscribe
In the
for more.
Victorian era, a woman's hair wasn't just hair. It was a symbol of status, beauty, and femininity. The longer, the better. Women grew their hair to extreme lengths, styling it into elaborate updos. But here's the secret. Even if they had long, voluminous hair, they often used rats, hairpieces made from their own shed hair, to achieve the perfect shape. Letting her hair down? That was a private act, reserved for her husband or her maid. Loose hair in public? That was scandalous, something only actresses and models dared to do for art and advertising. For upper-class women, hair was the ultimate expression of beauty and even a symbol of desire. For the poor, it was a burden. Long hair was impractical in unhygienic conditions, and many had no choice but to sell it for money. No matter the class, one thing was certain. Victorian women's hair had to be clean, shiny, and styled to maintain the perfect silhouette. Would you have followed these strict beauty standards? Let me know in the comments.